Hey guys, Moose here. We are back with some more Stonehearth. Not too much going on. I think we're mostly just worried about our bed situation here since these aren't getting built in a timely manner. We did have a carpenter die recently, so we're going to focus on making sure that this gets resolved. I think it will. It's just a question of getting the master carpenter to get his or her ass in gear and start getting work done here. Let's kick up the speed real quick and start looking through our crafters and make sure that everyone has something to do. Okay. Acacia seeds, I think I already have those, if I'm not mistaken. Do I? Yes, I do. No, thank you. So let's queue up a few more. We're almost out of jerky. That's not good. Let's do some more bread then. Let's do 25 and 25 so that both chefs, I think we have two, can work, and that should be good for that. So I got a fair number of friends at work, not too many, but you know, got a few. A relatively likable guy. Well, that's not really true. I can kind of be a dick at work, but usually I'm decent, and when I'm a dick at work, it's generally it's pretty fucking justified. It's when someone's proposing something really stupid and I'm calling them out on it, which unfortunately has happened a lot recently because we've had, you know what, this is a good time to get another blacksmith. Let's do that. You only have one? Yeah, I only have one. Sorry, I'm just gonna do this real quick. But yeah, so there, you know, a fair number of people like me. Usually the people that work with me consistently, and especially the people who do like actual manual work, not people who sit at desks. The people who sit at desks tend to dislike me because even though I'm one of them, I don't generally respect them because their main goal in life seems to mostly just be to avoid doing any work. Whereas the people who are doing physical work, you know, they can't do that. They need to do their job. So they can pretty consistently get their shit done. And those are the kinds of people that I respect and like working with. So those guys like me, but everyone else, not so much. I mean, not everyone else. There's, you know, every once in a while you get someone like me who works in an office, works at a desk, and actually like gets shit done. Those guys generally like me. They don't really appreciate that I rock the boat sometimes and call people out on their bullshit, but for the most part they like working with me, at least as long as they don't have to get involved when I call someone out, which unfortunately had to happen recently, but that's a story for another time. But anyway, so the guys who like me, sometimes, you know, grab lunch with them or something, just, you know, normal work stuff. Usually I get a longer lunch than they do though, so it doesn't, we don't do it too often, but every once in a while we happen to be like, well, alright, I need to go over to the warehouse, he needs to go over to the warehouse, so hey, you know, on the way back, let's grab lunch. Timing's right, you just do it. So, recently, I was doing that with one of my coworkers. Just went out, I forget what we got. We were going to, it was actually to pick up a rental truck, like, I think we could build a couple more houses here. Like, not a rental truck like a truck that you'd own, but a rental truck as in like a industrial, like a moving truck kind of size thing. And we rent them. Okay, a lot of people do. Not something you may realize if you don't work with a company that might do that sort of thing. But I like that our morale is double what it needs to be. That's hilarious. Yeah, so we're picking up a truck. We don't have to pay or anything, we're just picking up. I think we also dropped off an old one. I was basically, or it might have been just dropping one off, I can't remember. Either way, I was there, I had needed to go, I didn't really have anything to do. I'd kind of finished my work and I was still at work, so he was like, hey, I'm gonna need a ride back, you wanna give me a hand? And I just, yeah, sure, why not? Doesn't hurt me any, might as well help him out. So I did. Picked him up. And on the way back, it's like, well, we're pretty far away from work. It might be a good opportunity to pick up something we don't normally get. So, you know, we're turning the corner, going around from the truck rental place. And there's this you know, don't want to be too rude about it, but, you know, moderately overweight woman in the middle of the street, just kind of walking through the street. And so I turn the corner and I'm driving, you know. I turn the corner and I see her and stop. And she starts like swearing at me. Like, oh, you need to make sure you don't hit pedestrians. It's unsafe. You need to be careful. And I'm like a really passive guy in person. I don't want to say shit. I just want to go about my business. I don't want to even interact with this person. So I'm trying to like just, all right, whatever, you crazy asshole, just get out of my way so I can continue and we'll pretend we never saw each other. My passenger did not feel that way. And I'm kind of glad he didn't. My passenger was more of the mind that this woman was jaywalking and needed to be put in her place. Which, if I look at it from an abstract perspective, where I'm not actually in the situation, I completely agree with, on every possible level. This woman was a total asshole, needed to be given a taste of her own medicine, so to speak, needed to be told to fuck off. And that's exactly what my coworker did. He said, something, it was way more witty than anything I would have ever come up with. This guy's awesome. I really love working with him. He's a really funny guy. He's a lot of fun to work with. He said something witty to the effect of like, fuck off, use the crosswalk, you idiot. This is a road. Something along those lines, except much more clever, like I said. And she just kind of like shut up and kept walking at that point. And I don't know if she recognized that she was in the wrong, or she was just like, oh shit, they bit back, I can't, you know, one of those people who just acts like a child until someone calls them on it, and then they're like, oh fuck, I better get out of here. I hope it was that, because I'm dealing with a lot of people in my life like that right now, and, well, I'm not dealing with people I know are dealing with them, and if it was me, I'm pretty good. Like, I have a certain tolerance where if it's someone that I run into, like that woman, and it's just like, all right, well, I'm never going to see her again. So, like, picking a fight really doesn't do me any good. It's just picking a fight. Doesn't really help anyone. Because I'm not going to have to interact with her again anyway. Okay, good. We do have kitchen tables here. So there's no real benefit to me. So I'm not going to bother. You know, the stress of fighting over it doesn't really offer any benefit, basically, is the point that I'm getting at. But if it's someone that I have to interact with more frequently, in a personal setting, like, oh, I don't know, family, then it's a little bit of a different story. And at that point, I have a certain amount of tolerance that I have for that person, and as soon as they cross that line, if I don't really why are you guys still sleeping out here? You should not be sleeping out here. If I don't really have to deal with them that often, I will not necessarily outright call them on shit, but I will pick away at people who enable them and at them as an individual, and kind of erode their ability to treat people the way that they do and get away with it. And that's something I kind of pride myself on, because I really feel strongly that if you don't stand up to anyone, they're just going to keep being a dick. So, in my personal life, it's a little bit different, but with some random woman on the street, it's very difficult for me to stand up and tell them off when they deserve to be told off. Sorry about that, I had to cough real quick. So yeah, there was I'm really glad that I happened to be with someone at that time who was willing to do that. And there've been, unfortunately, a lot of situations like that, but the interesting thing about it is kind of, I guess, how I would apply that to the rest of my life, because I wish I had more balls, and I wasn't such a pussy about these things sometimes. I'm getting better at it, and internally I'm really good with it, and I will call anyone out in my head, but translating that to actual, you know, action has always been difficult for me, for the reasons that I explained previously. I feel like we need more iron still. Really not happy with how much we're getting, so let's queue up some more digging. We get way too much stone out of this. But yeah, so like I'm trying to learn how to, you know, grow a spine and start treating people the way they deserve to be treated in person, even if they're not like not someone I really have to deal with all the time, and not necessarily in a confrontational way, but I guess it kind of has to be a confrontational way. Is it really just one goblin? There's no way that's only one goblin, right? He's gotta have buddies. I mean, he has buddies, but like, not real buddies, just hearth tenders. Okay. We'll see how this goes and see what happens. Looks like we're killing him. I think he's music didn't even change. The game was like, nah man, this is no big deal. You shouldn't even bother with this. So we'll go kill their little camp and call it a day, I guess. So yeah, but I'm kind of weighing the pros and cons of that, because basically it doesn't really benefit me probably that much, other than like, you deserve this, so I'm gonna punish you for being a dick. And I kind of feel like, as a society, we need to be better at that. And I don't know how we go about doing that, but the problem is, well, basically, I feel like there's certain individuals that we all have a social contract. You may not realize it, you may not think about it, but anytime you go outside, unless you have some developmental problems, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with that, you probably act within a certain social contract that you've implicitly signed by existing within any particular culture. And every culture more or less has one. And for us, there's certain things like, you know, hey, you don't cut in line. And this is where I think culture shock comes from, is you know, I guess if you're, imagine you're someone from Europe or something, and you come to the US, and you know, tipping isn't a thing in Europe, as I understand it. You come to the US and like, people get real mad at you, like start spitting in your food, angry with you because you're not tipping. And you're just like, what did I do? I didn't do, I respect these people. I respect the waiters and waitresses that have been serving me. I mean no disrespect to them. What have I done? To my knowledge, I've not done anything to offend them, so why are they getting so angry with me? And why are they like not willing to serve me? Because you just don't understand. It's not your culture. And, you know, obviously there's a lot more intense situations to that effect that are going to occur. Tipping is a relatively minor one. Hopefully creates less anxiety than some of the other ones, but there's a lot of really serious anxiety-inducing situations that you can run into in a new culture. So it's pretty important for the functioning of society for everyone to kind of play within those rules. But you can get an advantage by not. And I feel like, oh good, we are getting beds. I feel, oh, you know what? I know what happened. We do not have enough of the shitty basic bed. That's what's going on. I don't know how I always forget that that's an issue. It says they're working on them, but I'm just going to build up a stock of these because I don't really see any reason not to. The problem is, well, okay, the reason not to is if I do this, I'm going to later on forget, you know, do 15 and 15. Later on, I'm going to forget that I need these in order to make the good beds, and it's going to cause some issues for me. That's okay, we'll deal with that when it comes up. But yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is people who do not abide by the social contract that we're all a part of cause a lot of stress and problems for others, and that could be as simple as cutting in line. Or, you know, the one asshole on the road that you know, swerves 3 lanes over without signaling. And it's not necessarily that that's a problem, because you have places in the world such as China where, you know, laws of the road are not exactly like that. It's a lot more fluid than that, and you can kind of do almost whatever. And generally it's not gonna, you know, they still have a relatively low rate of accidents, as I understand it. Now, the accidents they do have may be more frequently fatal or something like that, but I think generally, on a day-to-day basis, people generally get where they're trying to go. Because if they didn't, there'd be something would change. They would be non-functional. So it has to be kind of that. It has to at least work to some degree. So, but if you had someone driving like they do in China over here in the US, that, you know, they'd get in an accident within a day. Like almost 100% guaranteed. And that's purely because, you know, people are not expecting them to act in that way. So when they do, it's a surprise and it's a shock and it causes issues. So that's just one of obviously many examples of why this is a problem. But the whole, what I'm building up to here is, yeah, jaywalking on its own, not a big deal. But the problem I have with it, and why I'm kind of like, frankly, almost in favor of some pretty arcane, or archaic, I guess is a better way of putting it, or the correct word I'm looking for there, archaic punishments for this kind of shit, like jaywalking and things like that, or cutting in line, is because if you don't deal with the issue when it's small, it will become big. And that's also why I brought up shitty people in general. Because if you don't show people like that what they're doing is unacceptable and will not be tolerated, it becomes a much bigger issue because they say, hey, look, I'm getting a benefit from doing this. I don't fucking care that it hurts you. I don't care that it causes problems from you. It helps me. Why should I care about you? And as a result, you get into a situation where basically they're just consistently taking advantage of everyone around them. And I enjoy doing that to people who do it to other people. And I will play the game by their rules if I have no other option to basically fuck with them or ruin their day to get them to stop doing it. But generally I hate doing that. And I really wish that as a society we could kind of come together and say, you know what, fuck these people. Fuck them. They don't deserve any respect, they don't deserve to be treated well, so let's treat them the way that they treat us. Let's take advantage of them. Let's screw them over. Let's, you know, etc., etc. So that's kind of what I want to see change in our society. Is that, you know what, if someone cuts in line, fucking don't deck him, but, you know, I want to see the waitress or the waiter or the cashier or whoever it is that's in charge of that line refuse service to that individual and tell them to fuck off and get to the back of the line. And that happens sometimes, but that's like, okay, well, hey guys, check it out. I got this video of the ticket person at like a amusement park ride refusing to allow this person on the ride because they cut in line. And it's like, okay, all right, no problem. Front page of Reddit. That never happens. It's not the norm. And I'd like to see it be the norm. And I think the second that happens, those people disappear. Because they're not getting a benefit from doing it anymore. Because ultimately their perspective is, well, I'm not going to see you ever again, so why should I care what you think? And it's very similar to how I feel in the car, and the reason I'm not confronting that stupid lady who's jaywalking. Because it doesn't matter, because I'm not going to see her again. But the reality is that impacts someone else later down the line. And if someone doesn't call her out on her shit, she's just going to keep doing it. So, anyway, apologies for the rant about the problems with society, but that's why I feel like, to some people, if I was in charge of everything, it would be a little bit of a nightmare scenario. Because I'd be all about, like, oh, you're a pickpocket. You know, that's just, like, guess what? You're going to be in prison for quite a while. Until we can, and that's probably a bad example. I'd say in that scenario, I'd be focused on why they're picking pockets, I guess. Because in that, yeah, sorry, okay, that was a horrible example. Because in that situation, maybe it's a food issue, maybe it's an access to work issue. Ooh, got lucky here, saw these assholes coming, and take them out. Is that more than normal? It looks like more than normal. Just as hacking this guy so that we can get in. He's in the front, so let's... Is this like one guy off on his own and then the rest are coming in? No, this is maybe two groups, I think. Come on, I'm clicking on the cleric. Go kill him. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like even though they're little things, I feel like if you don't stop the problem there, it gets much worse. And I would be totally in favor of like a 5-day jail term weekend, or like a 4-day jail term weekends only, or like whatever days you're not working only, for anyone who's like cutting in line or something. And like that would put insane bureaucratic stress on the system, and it's actually a horrible idea, but at the same time, man, fuck those people. I'm really fucking mad at that. Like, if society's not going to punish them internally, something needs to be done to make sure that individuals do not take advantage of the rest of us, I guess. I want people to be called out on their bullshit. And you know what? While we're at it, similar, 4 days in prison if you use your cart to block the aisle in a grocery store. If you're looking at one side of the aisle and you put your cart on the other side of the aisle so no one can get past you, fuck you. You go to prison. That's how things should work. I hate those people so goddamn much, and I swear to God, there's never a day that I go grocery shopping that I don't see someone like that. And I'm at the point where, like, I will get 3 feet past them and I will start, like, like if I'm with someone and be like, can you believe this idiot just completely blocking the aisle? Like, I'm playing chicken with myself where I'm saying it, like, just loud enough that they might actually be able to hear me. And maybe I'm becoming part of the problem. Because I'm basically, at that point, if they hear me, I'm just like, I'm daring them to do something about it. I'm like, come fucking say something. You're in the wrong. What are you going to do? I'm just saying things. If words are enough to spur you to action when you're already in the wrong, not my problem. So maybe I'm part of the problem here, but those people drive me up a wall. Anyway, thanks for listening to my complaining. I hope you enjoyed this episode in spite of it. We got a fair bit done. We got some new houses built. We got another one coming up here, and we got some more ore and shit down in the mines. It looks like we got some wolves to kill. The usual combat, of course, dealing with random invading goblins, or orcs, or whatever the hell they're called. And we're pretty much done with the buildings out here. In fact, I'm going to see if I can finish off this episode by getting rid of... Nope, still 16 left. Wish they'd finish that, but if I wanted them to, I suppose I probably shouldn't have told them to go mine out a fuck ton of area down south. Or, not down south. Down beneath the earth. So, anyway, as I was saying, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join us for the next one as well. Take care.